Alright guys, so we're inside the virtual machines here, virtual machines section of the Azure, and then I'm just gonna click the add button here. Excuse me, and that is the basics. Okay, allow. So we're just well, there are still people arriving. So where I'm in the virtual machines area, and then I'm just trying to create a virtual machine. Last time we went through the features of that, so right now we need to, during the creation we went for the features of that, right? So I'm just gonna click the virtual machines area here, and I'm gonna click the add button. So in subscription, we have pay as you go, and resource group we have to create that. Last time we created a resource group, and resource group is a resource group is a resource group is a collection of resources that share the same lifecycle, permissions, and policies, right? So this is the definition of a resource group here. We're gonna create. Let's click create new resource group here, and we're gonna since we're creating a new virtual machine, so for the resource group I'll just name it as today's date, 21Oct2019-RG, and once this resource group is created, I'm gonna press OK here. Excuse me. So and then we're going to create a virtual machine, so we're going to just give a name. So in that case, I'm going for your first name underscore VM01. So your first name underscore VM01, and all characters are valid for Linux OS computer name. Right now I'm just going to so virtual machine name is there, but this is not the Linux machine that we are creating here. We're creating here is just a Microsoft machine. I'm just gonna go down to smaller name, your first name underscore. Oh, underscore is not allowed, so hyphen VM01, right? So it's the lowercase machine name is there, and it is Canada East, but I'll try to use the US East because it has more features, so I'm gonna go for US East here. And availability options we talked about in last class as well, that we have availability zone and availability set. We talked about last time availability set, and suppose I select that. So availability set is to provide redundancy to your application. We recommend that you group two or more virtual machines in an availability set. This configuration ensures that during a planned or unplanned maintenance event, at least one virtual machine will be available and meet the 99.95% Azure SLA. Okay, there's a question from Jatinder that please explain the difference relationship between resource groups and regions. So regions are huge physical areas where the data centers of Azure are spread around. So and regions have availability zones, and then availability zones. So one region will have 2 to 8 availability zones, and then each availability zone will have 2 to 8 data centers, and each data center will have 100,000 to 300,000 virtual machines. So, but this is a physical area, the region is a physical area, while the resource group is a container where you collect or assign resources. It is like a folder or a container that groups together resources. Now, for example, if we want to, let me grab a pen here. Suppose you want to create a lot of virtual machines here, and they all belong to a project, right? So suppose there's a project for sales department, and that is project sales 2019. So these virtual machines will be attached, or it will be related to a resource group. So this means that they are related to, so all the VM resources, virtual machine resources, are grouped together into a resource group. Then you create a VNet there. Suppose that's a network card, that's a network, or the LAN there in on top of the public cloud. So you create one full virtual network or VNet, and inside that you create some more machines. Then you create SQL machine, and then you create some storage as well. And that you keep on creating resources, but they all belong to the same project, right? So this VNet and its machines, you can just say that, hey, they belong to this resource group. Then the storage account, you create one account, you create second account, third account, you uploaded a terabyte of data there, you relate it to that resource group. So what happens is, that first of all, it helps in organizing all the resources. Oh, there are okay, there are, these are, suppose, so there are 7 machines, right? But total machines you have in your Azure subscription, maybe there are 200 machines, but these 7 machines belong to this resource group here, right? And then in VNet you have 3 more VNets, right? 3 extra VNets, but this VNet belongs to resource group, this 21 October 2019 RG. And then you have storage accounts, you have maybe 10 storage accounts there, but this one storage account belongs to this project. So first of all, these resources are belonging to which exact resource group, which just acts as a container or a folder. Second thing is, when you delete the resource group, everything gets deleted as well. So if you delete just that resource group here, everything inside it or attached to it will be deleted. So it's a container that organizes resources, and it is not only organization. When you want to get rid of these specific resources attached to this container, you just delete this container or resource group, everything will be gone. Now there's another comment: policies applied on regions or resource groups. Policies, no, resources are created in the regions, but they are organized in resource groups, right? So suppose you have US East here, a region. Now you can create, as I said, suppose you have total of 200 virtual machines here. So 7 virtual machines belong to this resource group. The rest of the 193 virtual machines, suppose, belongs to another resource group, right? So if you have been doing Active Directory configuration, so you create organizational unit there, OU, and inside that organizational unit you just add the users of, suppose it's organizational unit of sales. So you would just add the sales users there, the virtual machines of, or the machines that are joined to the domain of sales, you will add that to the organizational unit as well. So this is, region is a physical area which the Azure subscription works inside. But resource group is just organization of resources. So in that region, you have, in US East region, you have 200 virtual machines, but 7 belong to this resource group, and the 193 others belong to another resource group, right? Or suppose you have 10 more resource groups. One is for sales, it's a resource group. One is for marketing. One is for administration. So this is for organization of resources. It has nothing to do with policies. So policies will be deployed on regional level, with availability zones, with availability sets. This is, resource group is for organization of all the resources within the region, on which whatever policies you have deployed, you can deploy the virtual machines related features in that region. Suppose in another region the policies are not available, so obviously you would just come to this region and apply the policies and features. So okay, so we understand that when we create a resource group, it is just for organization, plus not only organization. When you get rid of this resource group, everything related to this resource also we get rid of. So if we go ahead, and I'm just going to clear all that diagram, and so virtual machine, your first name dash VM01. I'm just going for region here, and that is US East, East US. I can go for Canada as well, but it has US East has more resources or more advanced features available than the Canada region. So availability options, and then there are availability sets. We talked about those last time, that they are for advanced users, for having the virtual machines highly available within your availability zones. Within one availability zone, this is availability set. So last time we actually selected the availability set. So if we just go to availability zone this time, so and then there is that which availability zone you want to create that machine. There is one availability zone 1, availability zone 2 and 3. So we can just create it on one for no particular reason. You can choose 2 or 3, but remember which one you choose. I'm just for organization choosing availability zone 1. Some of the things that we need to yeah, a region can have up to 3 zones. Actually it's 2 to 8, but in other regions you can have more zones, Jatinder. And for here there are just US East have just 3 zones, right? But it could be more than 3 as well. It depends on which region Microsoft has invested, how the Microsoft has created the partitions, or more isolated areas called availability zone. How many of those in which region Microsoft has created. The same goes for AWS as well. How many availability zones within one region AWS has created. So right now this one US East has 3 availability zones there, and it could be more, it could be less as well. The region to region it differs. Now there is that image, and obviously we're not going for Linux here. We can go for Windows 2019 data center. There's Windows 2016. There's Windows 2012 R2 data center as well. I'm just gonna go for 2019 here, and then we have size here, and that is 1 vCPU and 3.5 GB RAM, which is okay for a Windows 2019, although this is not a very basic machine. So there's another question by Jatinder. How would you decide which zone to pick there? So availability zone, Jatinder, it would be you can pick any of those zones. None of the zones have are different from any other zone. And suppose I have picked here one availability zone. So when I am trying to suppose I create a machine here. So that virtual machine, there's a machine here, and you want to attach a virtual disk as well. So this is the VM or virtual machine, and this is VHD. This is VHD here, or virtual hard disk, right? Oh wow! So Bharat and Jitinder actually passed the AZ103. Ah, congratulations, Jitinder. Okay, so that's very good. And it would be very great if you are sharing your experience in the group, Jatinder. Okay, so what we're talking about this availability zone here, and if you have a VHD here, and that virtual disk is connected to the VM. Now the boss says, "Hey, create 2 more VHDs here, right? One VHD and second VHD here." So if you created this VM in availability zone 1, but you created the disks on availability zone 2, so they will not be able to communicate with that availability zone. So first of all availability zones are same. One availability zone is not better than the other one, or other one is not better than the first one. Second thing is, why do you use that? First of all, why did I choose one? I chose one just for organization, just to be in my mind. Oh yeah, I chose one. So when I'm creating extra virtual disks here, I would just put them on availability zone 1 as well, so they could actually find and be connected with this virtual machine when I create virtual disk. Second thing is that if you have 2 virtual machines here, so or this is not for virtual machine. This is more for data. If you have suppose uploaded 1 terabyte of data there, so normally they are the copies of them are saved in 2 different data centers within one availability zone. But also if you want, then multiple availability zone can have copies of your 1 terabyte data or 10 terabyte data that you've uploaded. So having 3 or 4 availability zones helps us copy the data across those zones. So if there's a AZ level outage, then you can have its copy on the other AZ availability zone. And also if you create virtual machines here, so one virtual machine created here and its copy can be created on another availability zone. But if you choose two, it will just choose three there on the other side. If you choose one, it will choose two on the other side for creating a copy of the data or for creating the copy of a VM virtual machine, right? So you can choose any availability zone, and if you say that to Azure, hey, can you create a copy of that? So it's going to create a copy, obviously, since you chose one here, so it will go for the second or third, and it's a random pick that it can do there. So availability zone, yes, you don't have to really decide which one to pick. Whichever you picked and you want a copy of that, obviously the other one will be used for its copy. And all the and also with virtual machine, if you have virtual disks there, then virtual disks have to be on the same availability zone as the virtual machine, otherwise it will not be detected there, right? And so there are many benefits there. It is like you have two data centers there, and those two data centers, there's a virtual whatever resources there, if you want to create a copy of that, you create it in another data center. So that's the same thing for AZ as well. You create a copy, you create a data there, you want to create a copy of that, yes, you can just create a copy in another availability zone. So that's the benefit of that. And which one to choose? No, you can choose anyone. So let's you can please do keep coming those questions. There are questions that are being asked by Jatinder, which are very, very interesting questions. So but thing is that so let's go ahead, but and congratulations again for your passing AZ103, Jatinder. And let's just go ahead and try to go for availability zone is one. And there is that administrator. So when we go for admin, so I'm just gonna put that your first name, admin, username, and the password, small c, capital C, 123, simple 123, and I've put some username and password there. So other than that, oh yeah, obviously I need to confirm that too. Okay, so what we need to do here, I'm just going to go ahead with the password, and then there are inbound rules here, right? So inbound rules, public inbound ports, and then there are allowed selected ports. Instead of doing that, we can also go the other way, which is security groups. You can just give the ports through security groups. Last class also we discussed that. So obviously this is a Windows machine, so I have to go for allow selected ports and go for RDP connection there. Now when we are there, already have a Windows Server license. No, I am not putting any license there, so I'm gonna click next for disks. Now when we click disks here, so there are premium disks here, and that is OS disk type, and we you can have standard HDD as well and standard SSD as well. So it depends on if you don't want to spend much and you're not worried about performance, you go for HDD. Otherwise, obviously, still again performance is not a big issue. Then go for standard SSD. Otherwise, better stick to premium SSD, right? So here, and data disks, ultra disks are still not available right now, or they say that it's not compatible with these types. So Azure Ultra disks deliver high throughput, high IOPS, and consistent low latency disk storage for Azure Infrastructure as a Service VMs. Ultra disk is suited for data intensive workloads such as SAP HANA, top tier databases like SQL Server, Oracle, and Microsoft, and transaction heavy workloads, right? Adding this compatibility capability in on results in a reservation change. So definitely ultra disk are just going to give you better throughput, better IOPS there as well. Data disk, you can add and configure additional data disk for your virtual machine or attaching existing disks. This VM also comes with a temporary disk, so we can just create one extra disk here as well. Other than that, so I'm just going to click the create and attach a new disk. I'm going to click that, and will try to follow that wizard of hey, what kind of disk you want, extra disk. Then I'm just attaching it just to go through the process of that. I don't really need that disk right now. I'm just so either you want to create it from snapshot, or because we didn't take a snapshot of any other disk before, so or it's not available if we did take it. So I'm not creating a disk from a snapshot or storage blob, which is if you have uploaded the disk from your on-premises environment, it's just a empty disk that we are creating, and that is 1023 GB, but we can just change the size here as well, and that's actually too big, 1 terabyte. And I'll select the least size here, 32 GB. I'll press OK here, and I'll press OK here as well. So I've just added a second disk here, which it considered as 10, or logical unit number, and it is 32 GB available. So if you go on the right side of that newly created disk, so it is also a premium disk, and host caching is available, read only or read write. Host caching is just that you are caching the data to be retrieved really fast later. So either you want to cache or save data temporarily to be retrieved fast as a read only data, or data is already there and it will be just retrieved, or you want read and write as well. So it will be IOPS which are read-only IOPS, or it will be read and write IOPS for the new disk that you're adding there. So it's up to you. Suppose it's a SQL Server, you would go for read-only IOPS more, because from the databases you retrieve a lot of information. Otherwise, it is read-write if you are actually going to make changes in the files on this disk. So I'm just gonna stick to none here, and then if I go further down here, there's the advanced written here. So use manage disk. Now obviously I want Microsoft to manage those disks, but if you don't want that, then you can just add you can just upload a disk from outside, from Hyper-V, from local branch. When you upload that, then you have to go for unmanaged disk. This means you're going to manage that, Microsoft will not manage that, right? So right now it is the selected image is too large for the OS cache of the selected instance. So it's saying that it's not going to really let you go for unmanaged disks right now, right? So I'm just going to click networking here. Once you click the networking, so you can see virtual network or VNet here. We're going to be going for that lab separately as well. It's a big one. So we have the default VNet here, and then subnet, obviously it's 10.0.0/24. Public IP, yes, I need public IP because I want to connect. Now then it comes down to a NIC, network security group, and that is because we already chosen RDP port there, so that is good. Otherwise we can go to advanced and we can create a new security group and then allow and deny traffic as we want this machine to have, whatever type of traffic we want, right? So if I click the create new here, so on the right side you can see that in add inbound rule and add outbound rule here. If I click the add inbound rule here, so now it says that hey, what kind of traffic you want there, what kind of port you want to put there, name of port, and the priority is the lesser the number, the higher the priority, obviously. So if it is 1010, you can have 109 only, and it will be 109 will be more priority. So name is port 8080 here. So and it could be source anywhere or from specific IP addresses. So it has a lot of extra options there. We're going to be creating those network inbound security rule for some bigger labs there when we are coming to other labs for the virtual machines. And I'm just going to close that, but we can create inbound rules and we can create outbound rules here. So I'm just going to close out of this, because we just defined that it is already basic, it is already RDP. So public inbound ports allow selected ports, it is just RDP we're selecting. We could select here HTTP as well, but for now it's RDP. And accelerated networking, so this is just if you want, so enables how latency and high throughput on the network interface. it's not how, enables low latency and high throughput. So just if you want accelerated networking, they will charge you a little more, and then they will provide you. Then comes load balancing. Obviously, you can place this virtual machine in the back-end pool of an existing Azure load balancing solution, right? So there's a question here. Public IP comes with a cost or it's free? So it comes with a subscription, but if you want extra IPs, more than 5 IPs, then they will start charging you some cents per IP, right, per hour. So, but with subscription, 5 IPs, they do change that number as well. But with subscription, you can have up to 5 public IPs there. So yeah, with subscription, they're not exactly free. Extra IPs you have to talk to support, and then they will charge you for that as well. But with the subscription, so the whole package will be charged when you are paying for the virtual machine itself. Here, place this virtual machine behind an existing load balancing solution. No, but later we're going to do that too. So I'm just going to click the next management solution, and management. On the management, we can go for boot diagnostics, and that is capture serial console output and screenshots of the virtual machine running on a host to help diagnose startup issues. So machine is starting, so you can connect to a machine. Suppose you were in a production environment. So normally you are able to connect to a server. Suppose there are rack servers there. So you connect through KVM to those servers, and when they're restarting, you can see through KVM switch what is going on in those servers. So you can also see when the virtual machine is created, when the OS is loading there. So boot diagnostic, you can just take snapshots of, or screenshots, not snapshots, screenshots. It's not you. It will take screenshots and will place it in a storage folder, storage account there for the machine booting. If it is starting and if it is having some issues, suppose the machine is not starting and there's a critical application on top of that, so your boot diagnostic, you would go there and check that when you restart the machine, what files or what error is showing there. It will take a screenshot of that or screenshots of that, and it will put it in the storage account for you. So for now, I'm just gonna turn it off here. We don't need that. And OS guest diagnostics. So here, get metrics every minute for your virtual machine. You can use them to create alerts and stay informed on your applications, right? So this is just diagnostics, and obviously it is off. If I just turn it on, then they say that diagnostic storage account. Oh, so that means it's gonna charge you. If you want detailed each minute diagnostics, then metrics are written to a storage account, so you can analyze them with your own tools. And thing is that if you create that, they will charge you, because they will create a storage account for you, then they will create logs for you. So then storage account related charges will apply then. So I'm just going to turn it off. And identity, system assigned managed identity. So a system assigned managed identity enables Azure resources to authenticate to cloud services. So Azure Key Vault without storing credentials in code. So you want Azure to confirm the identity of this virtual machine. Yes, it will do that. If I turn the button on there, it will just make sure that this machine is not a hacker machine. This machine is registered to your Azure subscription, and it is it is just securing or making sure this is the machine that was created within the Azure subscription, and this, you own this machine, or this is registered to your Azure subscription right now. I'm going to turn it off here. Oh, okay. This was the exam question. Okay. I mean, okay, I'm not sure identity you're talking about, or OS guest diagnostics. Uh-huh. Wow. So access key vault. Oh, okay, okay. Cool. Now system assigned managed, so this is the key vault, Azure key vault, and that is obviously just going to make sure that your machine is subscribed to this or registered to this Azure subscription. Auto shutdown, enable auto shutdown. And obviously this is just to have your virtual machines automatically shut down. If you turn it on, then it is shutdown timer is there, time zone is there. So 7 p.m. and then whichever time zone you are at, you can just select that, and it will make sure that it is shut down at those times, at these times that you selected there. I'm going to turn it off here. So and then backup. So I hope the backup lab came there or not. Maybe so. If I click that on, oh, backup lab came. Okay, so you did the backup lab. Two labs. Whoa, for backup. Cool, man. Okay, so then we can take a backup as well, and that's you have to create a resource group for that. That is Vault 629 already. It's given a number, but since we I've the backup, it's better to go for when the machine is fully created and then use the backup service, because now that resource group that I chose there back there is actually not showing here because we haven't actually completed this creation of this machine. Otherwise we can just create that backup policy. It is new daily policy, and we can click the create new here for the backup policy, and then it starts going for backup schedule there. Frequency is daily, time is 9 a.m, and again time zone. Then you go for retention of daily backup point is selected already at 9 a.m for 180 days, 6 month. The backup will keep on working. If you go for retention of weekly backup point, so you want to have, you retain the weekly backup point, so it will take a backup point which is, yeah, that you can return to or restore to at on Sundays or Mondays. It's up to you. Retention of monthly backup point, and that is, it's going to take a backup on first of every month, first Sunday of every month, and retention of yearly backup, and it is either weekly based, week based. So this means first week, second week, or day based, first day of the year, whichever you want. So the schedule is really cool there, and you can decide that when to take a backup, weekly, monthly, and yearly, right? So I'm just gonna close that right now because that's pretty straightforward how to configure the schedule, how to configure it for backup there. And recovery services vault, obviously there are replication services, and then there is that backup services. These are the two services that recovery services vault offer. So I'm gonna go for use. Oh, okay, actually I'm not gonna enable backup right now. I'm gonna go for off, and because also that we haven't created a resource group, I want to attach those resources to one resource group. Although that's not a big deal. If we create another resource group, we can just delete that too later. So we understood monitoring or identity, auto shutdown, backup. Some of them are pretty straightforward. Then there is that excuse me, advanced, and in advanced there is extensions, and extensions are just post deployment configuration and automation. So these are just smaller software that you can install, or the client side of the bigger software that you can deploy on a virtual machine. So if I go for select an extension to install here, so it's going to go for Acronis backup or anti-malware backup, Microsoft, HP. So third party smaller agents of any software, you can deploy their ESET file security, PowerShell desired state configuration, Casper Sky hybrid cloud security. So suppose you bought that server side application here, you can just buy its client side, or you can just add its client side to the virtual machine if you have the licenses for the server side already deployed somewhere. So if that application is there only, then you can just, so extensions are just small applications or agents of the applications that you've bought the server side for. So I'm just going to click close or cancel here. Oh, screen is hidden. If I select an extension, so screen is hidden. So if I select Acronis backup here, I hope you're able to see that. Oh, cool left. So yeah, I was opening that on the right side, so close and and I'm gonna close. Yeah, it was hidden because the select an extension to install. I was just doing that. It was showing the new resource for the extension. That's why it got hidden. So I'm going to close that, and the screen comes back. Now, Cloud Init. So extensions are small file or agents for the bigger applications. If you purchase the license for that, then you can install the agent of that, which are called extensions. Cloud Init is for Linux machines, and you want to install some packages there, so you can install those packages on Azure virtual machines there. So this is a Windows machine, so we don't need Cloud Init. The selected image does not support Cloud Init. Obviously, it detects that it's a Windows machine there. Then we go down to host, and Azure dedicated hosts allow you to provision and manage a physical server within our data centers that are dedicated to your Azure subscription. So pretty much they are giving a dedicated server for you. Obviously, they're going to charge you for that, but then it's all about performance and it's all about licensing as well. So suppose you have an application that must detect CPU socket. Suppose you are given a dedicated server and it has a CPU socket here and a CPU socket here. So suppose these are the CPUs. So the hardware level, if an application is licensed according to the CPU sockets, so it has to detect that. Now you don't want to go for your own data center, so you go for dedicated server. You install an application here, and it will try to reach the CPU socket 1, CPU socket 2, and then it will just let you use this application, because then it will determine that okay, how much if there are two CPU sockets, then how much you need to pay more for the license there. So this is one of the scenarios where you want the hardware to be dedicated for your application. Otherwise, normally what happens is that if you don't go for dedicated hardware, so there is a hardware there, but then your virtual machine is there, and then there is some other company's virtual machine in the same hardware, then some third company's virtual machine is also, the performance is shared. Here the performance is dedicated, and obviously they will charge you more for that. So if so obviously we're not going for the dedicated, but we can choose the dedicated host group there. Select a host group, then choose a host from within that group. The host group must be in the same region and availability zone as the VM you are creating. So that's where we can decide that hey, you want a host group for dedicated hardware or not. So if we go further down here, VM generation, that is generation 2 VMs, which is still in preview or test phase right now, support features such as UEFI based boot architecture, which is the advanced form of BIOS. The newer version of BIOS, it is mouse based and not just keyboard based. UEFI, increased memory and OS disk size limit, so you can have 64 terabyte disks now available as well, and Intel software guard extensions. This is for security as well, and virtual persistent memory, better usage, effective usage of virtual memory and the physical memory of the host in turn. You can have that. Those features are there, and that is VM generation. Now your choice to create a generation 1 or generation 2 virtual machines depends on which guest operating system and the boot method you want to use to deploy the virtual machine. Generation 1 virtual machines support most guest operating systems. Generation 2 virtual machines support 64-bit versions. Now this feature was not available for quite some time, but now it's still under preview. Before it was just grayed out. Now like 6 months ago, till 6 months ago it was just grayed out, not available at all. Now it is in preview, so very soon hopefully your virtual machines will be supporting advanced features. For now we're gonna stick to generation 1, and it supports older 32-bit operating systems as well as 64-bit operating systems, generation 1. So and generation 2 VMs preview do not yet support some Azure platform features, including VM backup. Generation 2 does not support VM backup till now, Azure site recovery, or Azure disk encryption. So that's strange. Let's click then the tag. So yes, they are still working on generation 2 VMs support for all the other services of Azure. So next is tags. I'm going to click that, and there's that name, value, resource. You can just put the name as, suppose, department, and here you can put sales, and so resources, 11 sector, which resource is related to this department or sales. Yeah, so this is just you can just give some metadata or some information about what you're doing. So I'm just gonna click review plus create now, and this machine is 0.1613 cents per hour. And then if you go down, I'm on pay as you go right now. So and all the options that I've selected here are showing here right now. So obviously I'm just gonna click create. So once it is created, now the bell sign here up there will show us that it is being created. So once it is created, then we can explore the features there as well. So I have my own screenshots for some of the other processes that we want while the machine is still getting created. So now, while it is being created, we're going to be creating virtual machines from the Cloud Shell as well, and this is the Cloud Shell here, this one, right? So, and we will be trying to use the scripts as well for that. Still going on. Wow, it's taking forever. While it is still going on, I'm just coming back to the slide where we can actually go for the PowerShell side of that as well, especially the Cloud Shell. And so there are some ways to connect to the Azure from PowerShell, and there are also some PowerShell commandlets there that we can run. How to create a resource group from PowerShell and Cloud Shell, and then how to create and then get information about that, and then also how to create a new resource group, and then also how to create a virtual machine after that, There's a script for that as well, and but it you can just expand the script as much as possible. And then how to give or know that how to what public IP addresses are given there. So there are commandlets that we can all check and test there when it goes ahead. So I'm just going to be running many of those commands there, uh, and how to then install IAS there with PowerShell as well, and clean up resources, how to remove then resource group as well, which is very important. Once we're done with our labs, we need to really remove the resource group as well. So I hope it is created by now. I'm sure it is. Okay, done. So deployment succeeded, and then there's that virtual machines that we connected there. So this virtual machine here is created. Obviously, if we go inside that virtual machine, there are many features there. First of all, we can connect to that virtual machine. Now we did add an extra disk there as well within the virtual machine. Remember that I added the disk, and if I go inside the machine, there is that disks area here, and I can see here this extra disk that I have created. So and then there is in fact it should be showing disk settings. Ultra disk is not there, but this is the only disk actually it is showing. I was expecting two disks here, and if I go for size, well, that's the machine size, but that's disk. So I'm going to connect to that. I'm going to go to overview and try to connect to that. I'm just going to click the connect button here, and then download RDP file. And so it is central use and docs, tech docs, and there's the Azure. And I'll just remotely connect to that. So RDPing into that is no big deal. You have created your username and password already. Your first name admin was mine, and small ABC capital shape 123. I think that was it. Oh, it was small ABC capital shape 123 and 123. Yeah, and well, connecting to the machine is no big deal here. So I'm just gonna have minimize this, or then I'm going to close that. Now it is connected, no big deal here. But what are the other features here that we wanted to see, or are there that needs to be explored? So activity log there, and that is of course whatever is going on with that virtual machine. It was just created there right now. Access control IAM, and that is what role you want to give, role assignment you want to give to a user, or you want to deny assignments, view role assignments. So if you go for, suppose you want some user to actually have some access to this virtual machine other than yourself, your account, you want some other one to handle that, so you can delegate that by clicking the add. So if I go to add a role assignment here and click the add button here, then it is just saying that select a role. What is the role? And I can just go for an easy one, which is owner, and assign access to AzureAD user, group or service principal. Yes, we're assigning it to a user there, and it could be any other user that we have synchronized from the local Active Directory, and that's a very long list. So I'm just going to go for Alan Reed, and this is a user that was just selected there as an owner for this virtual machine. So this user can also handle this virtual machine as an owner. So I'm just going to click save here, just to show that add a role assignment has been, you can just add any or delegate this to any other user that has been added to the Azure. Then there's a view role assignment, and if I click the view, so I've just added Alan Reed and myself. I'm already added there. So this is, and then deny assignments. If you want to deny someone, then you can click the deny button there, right? And classic administrators, and that is again who has the subscription or is the owner already, and then the roles itself, that how many roles are there and how many users are added to those roles, and that's a good bird's eye view of how many users and groups are member of this role or have these higher privileges available, are showing here on the right side. So here, if I click the tags, yes, tags we have already given here, and then there is that diagnose and solve problems. Diagnose and solve problems, troubleshoot deployment failures, VM deployment guidance, help with VM password reset, cannot connect to VM. So this is just list of all the troubleshooting or diagnostic problems. When you click that, they just give you options to follow up with. So I'm just going to go for networking then. And in the networking, obviously, we have already given the 3389 port as an RDP port for as an inbound port rules. Then there is outbound port rules there as well, and application security groups and load balancing, whatever else you want, the traffic you want allowed for this virtual machine. For now, it is just RDP traffic that is allowed. And this is on the top, so that's why this will be implemented. On the bottom you can see deny all inbound, so it is on the bottom. Suppose you want to take it up to the top, then which is not possible now, but when you go for add inbound rule here, you can just mingle with it, so then it will deny all traffic, all out deny will be there. But we just want this traffic, otherwise it is already all out deny right now. If you go down to disks here, this is where you saw that. Oh, was there any sound? There's a continuous toot sound going on. Not sure. Okay, I'll just mute everyone, I guess.
Everyone else is now muted.
Okay, so here now disks are there, and there's encryption written there. There's swap OS disk available there. So managed disks created since June 10 are encrypted at rest with storage service encryption SSE. You may also want to enable Azure disk encryption. So ultra disk compatibility is not available for this location. So US East does not support actually ultra disk. Wow. So what about encryption here? So it says that it is already so what you see here is that this is my disk that I added. It's not showing the local disk, and it says here that the disk that was already created there, that was encrypted already. Because I created the second disk, I chose not to encrypt it, so that's why it's not encrypted right now. Now if this is the second disk, so I need a proof from within the machine as well. I'm going to go down to that machine here, and I'm inside the machine that is already started, and I want to actually check that where's the disk. So I'm going to go to tools here in that machine, and I'm going to go to computer management, and then disk management, tools, computer management, and then disk management. And then there I can see excuse me, I can try to at least see that what else I have, and actually I see C. So there is disk 0 there, and that has C drive 126 GB, and then there is temporary storage, and that is D drive, which is 7 GB NTFS. So if I go for yellow folder here, do I have 2 drives or 1 drive? This PC. So that's temporary storage of 7 GB total. Did I select 7 GB there when I was creating a new drive? And that is data loss warning readme. So so there's that C drive here. I'm just gonna minimize this. If I can go for add another disk here, add data disk. So no managed disks available, and right now I cannot obviously add while the machine is started. I can just shut down the machine, then I would be able to add. So detach, I'm just detaching that. But yes, we can just host caching is read write enabled. It's not encrypted right now, and I can see two disks there. Although I think I put the size there 30 GB, but somehow it's not showing there 30 GB, which is strange for me. So VM01 OS disk 1, and it's not showing me actually to this, which is still mysterious. So I'll be checking that out later. Right now, if we go for size here, we can change the size of that machine as well. Right now I'm paying per month it is $119 Canadian dollar. DS1 V2, I could go for a really cheapest version there, $9 machine as well, which is going to be 0.5 GB RAM, two data disks there, and pretty much hard, even very hard to breathe there with Windows Server machine. You can we can start a Ubuntu machine or Linux machine there. That would be better. That's why we have like at least one vCPU and 3.5 GB RAM, so we could pretty much breathe. But we can just change the machine and we can resize the machine as well. If we go to security here, so it's just saying that upgrade your subscription to the standard tier for enhanced security with just-in-time access, adaptive application controls, and more. Your subscriptions could be more secure. Install the Microsoft Monitoring Agent to get enhanced security recommendations across your subscription. So it's all about upgrades, and you would see advanced features there. Visit Security Center to manage security across your virtual networks, data, apps, and more. So it is giving you, and it's saying try it free for the first 30 days. Discover threats at an early stage to quickly respond and prevent future attacks. Upgrade to the standard tier for enhanced security. So it's just saying that upgrade your subscription to the standard tier. I'm going to click that actually, and the first 30 days are free. After that, they're saying one virtual machine protection, $15 per server per month. So there's one virtual machine, and they're saying that they're going to charge you $50. So free 30 days left in trial for while my subscription is pay as you go. And if I have applications there to protect by the security center, it will be $15 as well. Then there's SQL Server, $15 per server per month. Storage 0.02 cents for 10,000 transactions, and zero Kubernetes services, which is $1, or container services and container registries, again 0.29 cents per scan. So I'm going to click the upgrade here just to explore all the features there, and I do these kind of stunts. The trial is started there, and okay, so install agents automatically. The Microsoft Monitoring Agent will be automatically installed on all the virtual machines in selected subscriptions. So that's the security that I have upgraded to. And if I click the install agents here, if a VM already has either SCOM or OMS agent installed locally, the Microsoft Monitoring Agent (MMA) extension will be still be installed and connected to the configured workspace. So it is just an agent that will monitor the services of the virtual machine, and it will give you all the insights of the CPU and RAM usage for that machine. So I'm just going back here, and I have actually upgraded, so I'm just going to refresh that page. Okay, so right now the security center, now view all alerts in security center. So security is written there, view additional recommendations on the resources in security center. So I have to visit the security center to check that what happened to my machine. Still the monitoring is off right now. If I do go for view all security center, I just click the security alerts here. There are not much security alerts right now, but later, if the machine keeps running, yes, we will have some security alerts. So I'm just going to close that, and if there were alerts, it would have shown. So I'm just going to go down here. Nothing much in security center for now, but we're going to talk about security tier separately as well. Now, and this is the visit security center within the security. I'm just going to click that as well, this one, visit security center. Now that's a separate section for the security services and features. And there it is now showing policy and compliance, secure score 240 out of 320. Review your secure score. That is, secure score is for that how many security features have been applied, implemented, and how did you turn on the firewall, did you security harden that server. So there are compliance policies here that are, so if you click if I click the review your secure score there. So secure score by category: 30 out of 105 compute and app resources, and 0 out of 0 data and storage resources, 210 out of 215 identity and access resources. So how much compliant I am? Did I give the correct username, password? Was the password really secure? So all these kind of settings. This is 30 out of 105 compute and app resources. If I click further, so then it tells me install monitoring agent on your virtual machine is still not done. And then there is install endpoint protection solution, that is still not done as well. As soon as I click there, it just goes to yet another page. But I'm just, disk encryption should be applied on virtual machine, that is also not done. So that's why it's just saying that, hey, you should be implementing all that. It still shows that button, one click fix here, if you install monitoring agent on your virtual machine. So I'm not going to click that. I will click that one click fix and install monitoring agent on your virtual machines. It says recommendation score 0 out of 50. So if I just go down here, view remediation logic, it's just that it's saying that, hey, do you want that agent for monitoring to be installed here? So I'm just going to select the virtual machine, and I'm remediate just means install or implement right now. So I'm just going to click the remediate and install monitoring agent on the virtual machine, parameters, workspace ID, or just select that. Otherwise, choose a workspace. Required field, please enter a value here. I don't have a workspace ID right now, but if I select this virtual machine, I don't think it's not going to let me go ahead. So I have to separately configure a workspace ID here, which means just that you have to create, in order to implement this task, it needs a workspace ID which is separately created, which I'm not having right now because I haven't gone through the whole security center configurations and settings. I'm going to cancel out from here and press OK, and then close this monitor. Yeah, so security center separately is really cool, and VMs and computers, VM scale sets, cloud services for that machine, app services, containers, preview. So it just gives you the security related information for all what we have here. So I'm just going to go back to the security for the virtual machine section here. Extensions, we haven't selected any extensions like anti-malware or cloud security agent there, any of the other agents for any big applications. So that's why no extension is showing there. Continuous delivery right now this is in preview. Continuous delivery in Azure DevOps simplifies setting up a robust deployment pipeline for your application. By default, this configures a release pipeline to deploy your application updates to this virtual machine. So you want the applications on this machine to be updated regularly with patches there. Then you can have that also configured for the virtual machine. So, but this is still in preview. After that, do you need to provision additional Azure resources, run scripts, upgrade your application, or run additional validation tests? You can easily customize this deployment automation to handle any other operations your application needs to perform during deployment. So the main thing is, if you want to keep the machines running, for that you need to run some diagnostic scripts or patching scripts for your, and upgrade your application as well. Then this is the service which is not available yet, but its name is continuous delivery, right? So it's a test version, but it's not fully available yet. If I go down to availability set, this is what we were talking about right now. Availability sets are not available for zonal resources. So availability set, we talked about fault domain and update domain. This is just that virtual machines in the same fault domain share a common power source and physical network switch. So in last class we were talking about that if you have two racks here, and the two racks are, suppose you have one rack in the data center and you have second rack in the data center, then there are servers there, rack servers here and the rack servers here, and then there are rack servers here as well. So what happens is that if they have this rack has one physical switch here, physical switch, or physical UPS, obviously a physical switch or an uninterrupted power supply, and this also has another switch here, network switch, and another UPS here, and a UPS. So the thing is that this is called SPOF, SPOF, and SPOF is that it is single point of failure. There's a single point of failure here, right? So single point of failure just means that if this UPS goes down, the whole rack goes down, right? And if this physical switch goes down, the whole rack goes down, right? So this is a SPOF, suppose available. So you can create a fault domain, which just means that you can create a virtual machine on top of that, and this is a VM. So it will be an active VM, right? And its copy will be created here in the other rack on the other server, and that will be a passive VM, right? So it will be a partner VM. In case there's a single point of failure related outage occurred here, UPS is down and the whole rack is down with the active VM down, so the services will switch over to the passive VM and you will still have connectivity to your virtual machine if you have selected this current fault domain feature. Then they will make it available for you, a copy of virtual machine within the same data center in another rack as well. So this is called SPOF, and this is called actually fault domain. And update domain is that if they had to upgrade your machines, then they will, if they had to upgrade all your virtual machines here, then they will make sure that the these virtual machines that you're working on are not affected. Suppose and they will make copies of your virtual machines separately as well. So the active machines were these, passive were these. So first they restart these passive machines, and then once they're fully started, then they fail over the services to passive. So passive become active, and active become passive, and then they restart these machines or update these all machines as well, right? So that's your update domain. So if you've selected that, then those machines would be treated that way, or they will be really maintained. And this is a free service, like this is available when you with your subscription. Okay, so then we go for configuration here, and that's where you have just in time to improve security. Enable a just in time feature. Enabling a just in time policy applies a default policy that locks down your RDP ports and grants access on demand for a limited period of 3 hours. So your RDP inbound access you have enabled already, RDP inbound access, right? But still you want not, it should not be 24/7 open or available. So you can create a just-in-time access, and that means that any user who has legit access to that should still have more limited access. So if I click that enable just-in-time access here, it enables that. And just-in-time access is enabled. Open Azure Security Center if you want to edit or disable the policy. So I'm just going to click the Open Azure Security Center here. And what is just-in-time? It already, just-in-time is a VM access enables you to lock down your VMs in the network level by blocking inbound traffic to specific ports. It enables you to control the access and reduce the attack surface to your VMs by allowing access only upon a specific need. So you have privilege to actually connect to that, but still it will allow access only when it is needed, even though to those who have privilege to access the resource there, right? So how does it work? Upon a user request based on Azure RBAC, and Security Center will decide whether to grant access. If a request is approved, Security Center automatically configures the NSGs to allow inbound traffic to these ports for the requested amount of time, after which it restores the NSGs to their previous states there. So it just says that suppose you're the administrator of that machine and you want to connect. So these your connection will be approved first. Although you have full access to that, you're responsible for that. Still, whenever you want access, it will be approved first, and then you will be allowed to connect to do your day-to-day regular work which you're responsible for, right? So if you go down here, there's configured with VMs for which the just-in-time VM access control is already in place. Presented data is for the last week. So I'm just going to select that VM here, that for this VM I want just-in-time access. So approved is zero request, last access not applicable, connection details we don't need to see that now. So I'm going to click the request access here. First of all, I'll just copy that because we are covering VM features. Okay, and I'll just click the request access. And then once I click the request, after I select the virtual machine, particular virtual machine, suppose you have 100 virtual machines here, so you can select the just-in-time access for all 100 virtual machines, or at least for the critical ones. So it says here the port is 3389, which is the RDP port. And second thing is toggle. So here you want the port access to be off or on, right? And second thing is allow source IP. What IP range? So first of all, the port is on, 3389 access is allowed. I just turn it on. Second thing is IP range. Either you can give that, or if I click the my IP here, so that would be the IP, public IP of my DSL router here. So, or I can give IP range here as well. I'm gonna stick to my IP here, which means whichever IP is where the user is connecting from, only that IP can have access to that. And then time range is 3 hours maximum. Can I give here 10 and select no? I cannot give 10. I can give 2. I can give 1, but I cannot give 4. It's just maximum 3 hours. So 3 hour, 3 hour, and when you're doing that, enter request justification. I need to do weekly maintenance, right? So, and then I need to do weekly maintenance. I've just put there it is on right now. The 3389 access is on for this virtual machine, and it is through my IP only. It is accessible, and otherwise I can go for IP range here, and that could be like 0.0.0.0/0, and that is if it accepts that. Yes, it does accept that. This means I can connect from anywhere, which is obviously not secure. So I'm just going to go for my IP, which is I'm connecting just from the public IP behind which I'm sitting here. And then I'm going to click open ports here. So network access initiated. The just-in-time network access request is being applied right now, and it says here it is being applied. So it's initiated, right? So it is just initiated now, and it should be accepted. You can see that the username has appeared here. Connection details is port 3389. Last access is active now. One approved is one request. It is already actually approved. So and recommended VMs for which we recommend you to apply the just-in-time in just-in-time VM access control. Now there is no recommendation of VMs, and then there is no recommendation VMs that answer one or more of the following classic no associated NSG stopped or JIT policy is turned off on their scope. So the thing is about just-in-time that even the legit administrators are not allowed 24/7 access. They can also be given on the need to know basis, or also when you really want to do something, only then request access for that particular 3 hour time period. So this is very interesting there, and this is just something that we've tried and tested. I'm just going to close this now, and so just-in-time access is now enabled. But other than that, we've tried to understand that what is it JIT, and this is just that you are legit administrator, and still you will be given access whenever you really need it, and only for maximum of 3 hours. So Azure hybrid benefit, then there is that other feature here, configuration. Use existing Windows Server license, and that is if you own a Windows license with active software assurance or have an active Windows Server subscription, use Azure hybrid benefit to save compute cost. So it is just about, if you purchase a license already, cheaper license, you can just use that. We're not going to use that now. And again, we did not choose the host group, which is for dedicated server, dedicated host or hardware. So it's not available right now. So we talked about just-in-time, then we talked about availability set as well, availability sets for this, right? Continuous delivery. Then if you go for identity here, so there's that a system assigned managed identity enables Azure resources to authenticate to cloud resources. Again, this is the identity that if you want virtual machine to be registered with Azure, and Azure would make sure that this is your machine, then it would be you can just select this option there for the machine. If I turn it on here, and then if I click save here, so you will be registered with Azure Active Directory. So your enable system assigned and managed identity, your virtual machine will be registered with Azure Active Directory. Once it is registered, your first name VM01 can be granted permissions to access resources protected by AzureAD. Do you want to enable the system assigned managed identity for machine? So this is good that if you want Azure Active Directory to, so this is pretty much like joining a machine to a domain that you would just go for. Yeah, so that is identity here, identity, and here once you enable it, it's going to be registered with Azure Active Directory. So I'm just going to press yes here, that enabling system assigned managed identity successfully registered your machine with Azure Active Directory here. And this resource is registered with Azure Active Directory. You can control its access to services like Azure Resource Manager, Azure Key Vault, etc. So the thing is that a system assigned managed, so the lifecycle of this type of managed identities is tied to the lifecycle of this resource. Additionally, each resource virtual machine can only have one system assigned managed identity. So we see that, okay, this is registered to Azure, but if I just go to the other area and then go to Azure Active Directory, can I see that machine name appearing here anywhere in Azure? So if I go down to the security first of all, although it should be in identity, nope. So I'll just go back here, and devices would just have the cell phones. And if I go there to relationships, roles and administrators, enterprise applications, identity governance, maybe it will appear after some time, but properties, notification settings. So it does not really show exactly if the Active Directory has those virtual machines available there, but we'll be making that search later as well. But right now, it just is very clear that Active Directory will be handling this machine, right? So if we go back here, so that is system assigned and the machine. We can also have user assigned. User assigned manager entities enable Azure resources to authenticate to cloud services Azure keyword without storing credentials in code. This type of managed identities are created as standalone Azure resources and have their own life cycle. A single resource can utilize multiple user assigned managed. So users can also be assigned these resources. So if the user is available, the machine is related to that user, or is that user can only use that machine. Otherwise, it is system assigned, which means Active Directory. It is registered with Active Directory, right? So also I've clicked that the resources registered with Azure Active Directory, you can control its access to services like Azure Resource Manager. So and that's just the detail of terminology. How does managed identity really work? AzureAD tenant and your code, service that supports AzureAD authentication, Azure Resource Manager. Anyway, we haven't gone to that level, but the Active Directory really controls the identity of this machine from now on. So if we go down to properties here, that's the information, overall information. What is the public IP of that machine? What is the private IP of the machine? And all the links to the resource ID of that machine, ECS resource group of that machine, which we gave. Pay as you go is a subscription. And then if I click the change subscription here, you don't have any subscriptions to move resources to. Please create a new subscription. Anyway, so this is just information about the machine. If we go to logs here, so the logs are there's add resource group subscription. If I click the add button, so log name and log type. Log type will tell you this machine you want to make read only, or you don't want it to be deleted. Then yeah, you can put a log to it and it will be read only, or you won't be able to delete that machine. So I'm going to cancel out of there. This is just another property, export template, and then you have that script there, and you can have the whole virtual machines template created, and then you can actually deploy it as well. There's a deploy button here as well. If I click the deploy button here, so that same virtual machine can another virtual machine can be created here, and it could be deployed. This was an application that is not supported by one or more of this and USEs. So the thing is that I don't want to deploy this virtual machine as a template, but yes, you can do that. And with all the settings that we have already configured, it can another machine can be deployed with the same settings that I have done here. So the resource group is in a location that is not supported by one or more resources in the template. Please choose a different resource group. Really? Anyway, so I'm just going to close that. And then there is Bastion, and that is operations. And Bastion is also was not there a few months ago, but it is now here. Azure Bastion subnet, to associate a virtual network with the Bastion, it must contain a subnet with name Azure Bastion subnet with prefix of at least /27. So public IP address. Bastion mainly is all about if your machine needs to be connected from outside. So Bastion subnet, so suppose we have this subnet here. Suppose you have this Azure subscription here, right? Azure. And here you have a VNet created yourself. We're going to be separately creating a VNet here, right? So when you are connecting from outside here, so there has to be within the VNet you have subnet 1, you have a subnet 2. So this virtual machine could be in a subnet, subnet 1, and then there is subnet 2. Wow, that's a bad writing. There is that VNet subnet 1. So Bastion subnet just means that your machine can be connected from internet as a jump PC or Bastion net. We're going to be doing that lab separately as well. But jump server or bastion just means that this is the machine that you have to connect first, and after that you can connect to the private machines in the background. So this could be the excuse me, public subnet, and this could be the private subnet there, private, right? So this could be the private subnet. So all users who want to connect to the private subnet and to the machines in the private subnet, they have to first connect to the bastion or jump server, and that would be available in the bastion subnet, which is open to the public. So bastion is, we can say, open to be accessed from outside, accessed from outside, right? So there's a question there. When public and private IP address is given, how many interfaces VM will have? Well, VM can have one interface only, Jatinder, and the bastion. When we will do our VNet lab, you can either have two NICs or three NICs or four NICs, up to you. But by default, the same NIC that has the public IP also has been given the private IP as well. And one NIC can have multiple IPs also given if they are on separate range or nature. So one is public, one is private. So the one NIC can be given public. In fact, it's not can be, it is given already. If I just go ahead and go to my machine that is started right now, this is a started machine, right? So I'm inside that machine, and it is supposed to give information on this area. Really, hey, where's my information? So anyway, if I just go to the command prompt here for this machine that I've already started, and go for IP, okay, /all. The point is that what I'm trying to say is the public IP and private IP both are given to the same NIC. And so first is description, physical address, so IPv4 right now, this is the IP address here, and it is also, but it is not showing, 168, but that's a DHCP server, right? So normally the public IP is also given to that machine, otherwise I won't be able to connect to that machine if there's a public IP not given. And this is a public IP 52 that is already showing here. But when I do ipconfig /all, I don't see a 52 here. So ipconfig /all is not showing, otherwise the public IP and private IP right now are available for the same virtual machine. But if you want some more complicated type of connectivity to be, if you want it to be configured, yes, go ahead and you can give a second NIC there and connect it to the second subnet, and third NIC connect to the virtual machine on a third subnet. When we create VNet, then you will see that how we can make the flow of the traffic really work. So, oh, this was an exam question. Hey, that's good. Hey, you're putting all exam questions to me. That's good. So, although you've passed already, which is good. So, private IP addresses when public, and so there would be multiple choice, obviously, questions there. So when you put public and private IP, by default it is one NIC, but you can have multiple NICs according to whatever scenario the question posed, and whatever multiple choice answers were there, whatever the choices were, it depends on that what we can give. So now we were talking about public IP, and this is the bastion, but I have explained that the bastion just means that it is available from public, and without connecting to bastion you cannot actually connect to the rest of the network. That is called bastion. So if I click the auto shutdown here, then there is right now obviously we don't want any schedule for our virtual machines to shut down. And then comes the backup here, and that's where the backup policies we were talking about. Welcome to Azure Backup, simple and reliable server backup to the cloud. Charges are based on the number and size of VMs being protected. Review the following information and click on Enable Backup to start protecting your VM. Recovery Services Vault, create new, and then resource group is this. So I'm just selecting the same resource group. Choose backup policy, which is daily policy there, or create a new policy. So I'm just going to click the enable backup here, because that is one of the labs as well that you have to enable backup there, and it is enabling now. The policy, whatever default policy was there, it accepted that. I should have just gone to the policy. In a production environment, I would definitely want to go to that policy there, and would want to uh, really select that schedule there, right? So now this backup would take its time to get deployed, but once we enable backup after creating a policy, that's how we do it. And well, it's now busy doing that. So that was also in the exam. Okay, that's very, 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 very good. That what we're covering is actually what is coming in the exam. Well, yeah, that might take some time. And I will just go back to the virtual machine again, go inside the virtual machine here. While it is being deployed in the background, I'll just go down to, so we were on the backup here, and that is being deployed right now. Backup pre-check passed, and oh, okay, it is deployed now. And I'll click the go to resource here on the top here, where the deployed succeeded is mentioned here. And yeah, so it is in the resource group, it is deployed. I don't need to go there for now. I'm just going to close that, and again go to the virtual machines, external networks, virtual machines here, and go to virtual machines again. So there's Bastion, there's auto shutdown, there's backup, and then there is excuse me. So backup is there. If I click that now after being deployed, so it says that status is warning initial backup pending. So it hasn't taken a backup or started taking a backup yet, but I haven't clicked that button as well, and backup now would do that. If I click the backup now here, then retain backup till, and it will create that in the storage it will create a backup. So I'm just going to cancel out from here, but we can create a backup this way by clicking the backup now, and we can just revisit the daily policy here. So if we go to the daily policy, I'm going to click that daily policy here, and there's that policy, but now we have to separately go to the backup from the recovery vault and configure that policy, or shut down the machine to configure this policy here. There's a stop backup, there's a backup now, but the actual backup hasn't, initial backup pending still, so it may be starting right now. And it is created in the vault 69, recovery services vault. If I click that vault 69 here, 679 actually, so there's either we can backup or we can replicate. That's the two major things it offers. So if I go for backup here, so now I have one virtual machine that is ready to be backed up. In progress is 0, failed is 0, and that's an overall performance. If I go on the left side, getting started for backup as well, so then it's asking for a wizard. But if we want overall performance of that vault 679 where just one backup is going on, so that's only one machine that is there, right? Okay, we understand that. Okay, the backup got started, and we're good in that. So I'm just gonna go for the virtual machines here. And if you go further go down here, this is disaster recovery. So after backup, obviously, so I have selected the backup, an initial backup, maybe starting there. I'm going to go for disaster recovery here. And in the disaster recovery, it is saying welcome to Azure site recovery. And you can already see that there's a site replication available there. So you can replicate your virtual machines to another Azure region for business continuity and disaster recovery needs. So you can conduct periodic DR drills to ensure you meet the compliance needs. The VM will be replicated with the specified settings to the selected region so that you can recover your applications in the event of outages in source region. So it already shows that your virtual machine in US East is being replicated to its passive or copy virtual machine in US West US, or you want that to be in West Central US or West US 2, which is another center, or East US 2. So my machine is on East US, right? So it could be showing, I can make a copy of that, which is a good improvement. It was not there before. Now they have it. East US 2, Central US, Canada Central, Canada East. So these are the areas where I can have a partner of this machine. And they do show all these in the globe here as well. So if I go further down here, source region East, and then selected target region is West US. Available target regions are these, right? Now there is review plus start replication. So this service is available. We haven't really started this. So okay, do we have to create resource group there? No, it will. This is another resource that we are creating here. So what we can do is that if I click the review plus start replication, so then we can try to check this. So I'm just gonna click review plus start replication here, but there is that advanced setting is next, right? Instead of start replication now, I'm gonna go for advanced settings first. Once you click that, so here we can see pay as you go for me, and then second thing is VM resource group. It is right now 21. Virtual network VNet, it is also 21, which I gave there, right? And then there is availability zone single instance, availability set. No, I did not configure that. And then if I click this option here, nothing here. If I go further down, it is creating in my assigned resource group. You don't have to create a new resource group there. In fact, storage settings, replication settings, and extension settings. If I go for storage settings, there's a show details here. So source premium SSD, yeah, this is the disk that I have, and it's a copy of that disk will be created on the other side. If I go for replication settings and show details here, so there's a vault subscription here, pay as you go, and then there is recovery services vault here, new site recovery vault, West US recovery services vault, right? And new site recovery vault West US. So that is where it's going to do that. Vault resource group. So site recovery vault RG, it is for replication specifically. It is creating its own resource group. For the virtual machine, it is not creating that. But for the replication settings, and replication normally is always asynchronous. So site recovery vault RG, it is creating a new resource group for the site recovery vault RG. But if I just check that, yes, I have still the option to create, to give it to my resource group. So I'm just gonna put that even across the region, but now it has an error here. You cannot select a resource group in the same region as of the VM. In the event of a data center disruption, yeah, the resource group also might not be available. Ensure you select the resource group from a different region. So Jatinder, there's the answer. That previously we were able to select the resource group, but now they've changed that. So you have to create a separate resource group for a separate region, and it makes sense as well. If there's a region level outage, then the resource group would also be not available, to which all the resources from one region and second region. Suppose the second region resources are also connected to the same resource group in the first region. So when the first region goes down, the resource group will also be not available. Hence, the resources will be affected as well. So they're saying from now on, like this is a very good thing that yes, you have to create a separate resource group for separate region. Yes, resource group are always associated with the region. It was not the case 6 months ago, but now it is that, and it makes perfect sense here because this feature was not even available in previous course. It was under preview. Now it is available. So definitely resource group per region is recommended, and they're not gonna let you create that. So definitely resource group per region. So vault resource group, and then replication policies, 24-hour retention policy that is available. If we go for extensions here, then show details, then there is allow ASR, Azure Site Recovery, to manage update settings or manage manually. So extension settings are, again, if you have some applications there or agents for some anti-malware or any other. So how do you want to update those extensions? So that is where, oops, I'll be putting that there. So now there's that all those settings there offered for disaster recovery, and that's a very very good thing that they have finally came up with that. AWS already has that for quite some time now. And then there is automation account, site recovery, Azure Site Recovery automation account, which is that if the region 1 goes down, the region 2, it fails over automatically too. So that's very good. And if I click the next one, which is review plus start replication, so if you are choosing general purpose v2 storage accounts, ensure that operations and data transfer prices are understood clearly before you proceed. So source managed disk, replica managed disk, and replica managed disk type. Replication settings are pay as you go. Already it's going to create another group. Now I would not definitely want to go for start replication. I'm on pay as you go already, and that would be a big charges coming my way. So but this is how the machines will we just need to explore the options and features that are coming there, that are showing there. So there is a replication settings that you have to configure, extension settings that you have to configure, storage settings that do you want to replicate all your virtual disk or you just want to replicate one virtual disk there. So these are all, and which region, there's a source and there's a target, right? So which region you want to select, that you can select that there. So it's going to create a separate storage account as well, which we haven't created yet, and it will charge you for that. It will charge you for the replication as well. So that's a accumulation of a lot of charges there, right? So if you understand what the features are, I don't want to click the start replication, so I'm just going to close that now, right? I'm going to close that now. So and go inside the features again, but this is a very very good improvement from Azure, that disaster recovery, which was recently in preview, is now fully working, which is really good news. So if we go further, so we have gone through the features. You have to just set up replication. You can choose the regions as well, which was not AWS had that way back, but now Azure has that too, which is very very good. Okay, so disaster recovery we talked about, and then update management. So this is again the same thing like we were talking about availability sets there. So update management enable consistent control and compliance of this VM with update management. So consistent control and compliance of this VM. This service is included with Azure Virtual Machines. You only pay for logs stored in log analytics. So compliance is one of the main things here. This service requires a log analytics workspace and an automation account. You can use your existing workspace and account or let us configure the nearest workspace and account for use. So basically what's it is excuse me, so it's going to just monitor the compliance of your machine. If your machine has proper security, your machine has proper high availability, your machine is having all the acceptable minimum compliance standards of Azure. So obviously they're going to charge you for that as well. But this is and they're going to create a lot of log files there, right? So, and it says enable for this VM or enable for VMs in this subscription. So every VM you want monitored for compliance and consistent control, or you just want this one to be. So I'm not actually enabling that, but this just means that there is update management, and update management pricing is on the right side here. So if I click that, it opens in a new automation pricing, simplify cloud management with process automation and configuration, and try for free as well with Azure automation, central US, and the currency. So they're not actually giving currency. So I'm just going to go back here. This is again automation. You want to have automatically patches deployed. You want to have automatically updates for your applications and extensions deployed. Then, and you want everything to be logged in a separate storage account. Then you use update management. And this also feature was also not available in previous course, which means that 2-3 months ago it was not available. So they have really drastically improved Azure, which is wow. And that's why there are so many jobs in the market. Okay, so and then inventory, enable consistent control and compliance of this VM with change tracking and inventory. So change tracking, this is ITIL based change management that they are implementing there, which is a very good and welcome sign there. So this service is included with Azure Virtual Machines. You only pay for logs stored in Log Analytics. This is the exact same thing that we talked about. So you want to have log files created about, hey, how much of the operating system, how much of the applications installed on top of that have been updated, and was that a successful update or failed update. And also for inventory is the same thing, that this service requires a log. It will just give you that how many disks are there, how many virtual machines, what kind of processes were running there, what kind of automatic processes were running there. It will just give you the log files and give you all the detail of whatever change was going on, change tracking and inventory. So suppose you wanted to add 20 more disks there. Suppose you wanted to add 10 more. Oh, okay. The Rob was disconnected. Allow. Oh, okay, Jatinder. Nine only. Election voting has started. Hey, let's go connect to, yes, CP24 now. What are you connecting to? Oh, okay. CBC. Okay. Okay, yeah, CBC. Okay, that would be also NDP5, conservative, liberal 25. Woohoo! Oh, sorry. I'm not sure which are you with. So I'm with liberals. Okay. So yeah, that was all recorded as well. Seriously. But yes, we can have the class till now. Well, Jatinder is saying that, but Turab just joined after getting DC'd, and Turab, there's a request there, Jatinder, that let's keep the class till 9 so we could see the election results, but also that we can continue if one of you wants it to continue. Otherwise, in next class we're gonna have the load balancing and all the other advanced features like uploading the machines virtual disk from local Hyper-V to the cloud. So all other activities. So election voting count just sorry. Okay. So they're saying be ready for load balancer. I am going to grill you. All right, that's the thing. Yeah. So yeah, thank you for that. I'm really now scared to death. Oh, I'm shivering right now. So yeah, I'll be reading that 1,000 page book now before the next class, definitely. So But yes, load balancing is, not that big deal. But yeah, I would love every question coming my way, because that would be very very interesting. Jatinder, how many questions were there in exam for load balancing, or was there one lab, two labs? Oh, there was one lab for that. Okay. Yeah, normally there is, as you said, yeah, there is one lab. Normally that comes. So, so what's the vote here then? Oh, we are also voting, right? So to continue the class or not to continue the class, that's the question. Yeah, application security groups. Oh, okay. So we have a lot of yeah, yeah. Obviously, we're gonna go for network security group. We have already done. The application security group would be just all the application ports and features to be secured with the security group. Just tries to allow block traffic, right? So and then load balance. So load balancer, if it's advanced load balancer, it would even balance the traffic according to the application port or the traffic type. Suppose it's port 25 traffic, so it will load balance the traffic there. Suppose port 25 or application has stopped listening on the port 25, then it will stop sending the traffic to that machine. So there are many functionalities there if it is an advanced load balancer. Otherwise, we are dealing with here not very advanced load balancers like F5. Oh yes, application gateway. So gateway, whenever you use gateway, definitely it is where you want to connect from outside of your Azure subscription to inside. So suppose from your branches to this. So yep. Now it's 8:58, and if you want the class to be done, do we have full votes, or if anyone wants to leave and the other one wants to continue? I think Turab is not listening, or he's also watching the election results. Oh, Turab is listening. Okay, so Turab, Jatinder is saying keep the class till 9 and let's see the result. But oh, okay. Oh, so, well, we were talking about the virtual machines here and change tracking. Not much left there. Main things were covered there. Configuration management, again, it's automation. Policies, you connect the policies there, like assign policy. We have just 2 minutes left. I can just cover these two here, and in fact, that one. So, policy feature launch, ability to tag existing resource at scale. So, this is not, it is all about compliance, first thing. Second thing is, if I click the assign policy here, there is that learn more about the scope, parameters, remediation, choose a policy on the basics tab to view what parameters are required. So here, policy definition, what do you want excluded, what do you want included here. We're going to talk about that in detail in later, but right now, audit virtual machine without disaster recovery configured, show audit results from Windows VMs, SQL managed instance, and preview deploys. Then there's a long list of any of the policies that you want configured for this virtual machine in this region attached to this resource group. So once you assign that policy, obviously it will be attached to the virtual machine, and then you can review and create. We can just go with that policy in next class as well. If yeah, today's a big night, so let's meet in next class and then try to get that policy. If you guys are connecting there, we can also this week only. I'm available. I think Wednesday. No, Thursday as well. And if you want to have an extra class on Thursday, then we can have that too. And in fact, tomorrow also I'm available. Okay, so yeah, we can just talk on this. So okay, bye bye guys. Then see you. Hopefully, your party wins. I'm going for liberal. Oh, okay, good. Okay, bye. So, all right, bye bye. Thank you.